Yeah, so like that brings me to say like product marketing and messaging. Um, there's something that you talked about, which is that messaging needs to be more context, moment, and signal aware, like all three things versus what it used to be before. So can you give me an example or North Star of like a company that you've seen do that well, or where
Sure.
have you seen that play out?
I mean, look, I've always thought that the software companies, the application that win the best, have the best product marketing.
Yeah.
Um, what I mean by that is across the company, it is very clear. If you pulled somebody up in a hallway, and I'll get back because you're chuckling and you smile about this, um, they know exactly who they're selling to.
Mm-hmm.
When they sell to them, they have the elevator card, they have the longer pitch, but they understand very clearly why this, why us, why now. Why
Yeah.
should somebody look at the category solutions you represent? Why is it important? What pain does it solve? Why us? Why do you solve that better than somebody else? And why now? Like, if you don't do this now,
Mm-hmm.
what costs are you going to incur? What risk are you going to incur? Or what, revenue will you lose? Not only at a business level, but at a personal risk level.
Yep.
Companies that nail that kick ass.
Yeah.
You cannot scale a go-to-market organization without that. And a great example would be, Tooba, where did you last work?
Qualified.
Qualified.
Yes.
So Sean and Craig, who worked with me and for me at Salesforce, I mean, Craig is probably one of the best product marketers
Yep.
that I've come across in my career. They went into an existing category that already existed, Drift and others, and they
Mm-hmm.
came and they out product. I mean, Bing builds good product, don't disagree, but they out product market the crap out of the competition. And I was just sitting there watching it going, oh my Lord, this isn't a fair fight. And right too, but you would tell me, what would you do? What would Craig and team make you do every Friday at Qualified?
They would repeat the same messaging to us over and over again. So everyone who worked in the organization had this like idea of like who we are, what we do, and for whom was just ingrained in our heads. So you could have picked an engineer who was like a new hire from an engineering org and put them in front of a customer, but they would know exactly what these dimensions were to talk to a customer, which I found really interesting because I was like, it was so repetitive to me, right? But like now running my own company, I'm like, that is such a good tactic to have because you never know when folks from your company are again going to run into customers or potential customers. And like the same thing with product marketing as well. Like I hadn't and I don't come from Salesforce. I've obviously explored a lot at the World Economic Forum as well. But Qualified was my first example of seeing like how you could have the best product in the world, but if your messaging isn't right and if you're not marketing it well, how flat it can fall.
Right. And then
These
the
are
big
lessons, yeah.
and then the big issue is, okay, most companies suck at that once a year.
Yeah.
What happens when your product changes every 30 days? Like, I literally in the Slack orbs of the ones that are the fastest growing, and they've raised a lot of money and they're on their way.
Yeah.
It is friggin' chaos. Product doesn't know what dev is shipping. Customer success doesn't know that this thing is out. Marketing is trying to keep up to date. It is chaos.
Yeah.
And so you need to nail this and you need to refresh it every month. It sounds crazy, but I almost was like, day one of the new month is a day off. We spend one day each month refreshing the team, refreshing our materials, and make
Yeah.
sure we understand that vis-a-vis the competition. And one really good exercise for any founder in the room when you get to like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 100 people, and you start to build your executive team, pull your executive team around and tell them, take out a card and write down what is it we do for whom that they give a shit about
Yeah.
better than somebody else. And what you will find is those answers, half of them will be bad,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not aligned. And then just run that experiment. I promise you'll be like, oh, okay. I get what Brett and Tuba are talking about.
Yeah. I think the worst thing you can have is sitting in a room with your C-suite and like everyone has a different answer for what you do and what you're
Well, if
addressing.
you do, then what do you think the employees have, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So sometimes even exactly leadership isn't even involved. So from the perspective of the customer now, who's like looking at all this fun kind of product marketing stuff coming out, all this new messaging coming out, what is your thought on whether they get fatigued by how often there is a new release? I mean, for us, Amoeba, we had our biggest release yesterday. We released Pipeline Intelligence powered by Amoeba Agents, And then
Congrats.
my feed is actually riddled with, I think, another like 15 companies that's just in my network had a release yesterday as well. So when you think about that from the perspective of the buyer, do you feel like they get fatigued by everything that's
Yeah, I
coming?
mean, look, until all of our go-to-market teams and all our buyers are just agentic robots talking to each other and selling each other product, we have to understand there's just a normal rate of human absorption,
Yeah,
especially if I'm doing something the way I do it today. I have to absorb it, and now I should adjust what I'm doing. And yes, and so, I think anything more than a month, faster than a month is ridiculous. At
yeah,
some point, you might move to quarterly, but I think it's a month. And I think is another really interesting thing, which is back to the messaging tree.
mm-hmm.
If you're not changing what you're saying, if you haven't improved the job to be done or doing a new job to be done, what are you announcing?
Yeah.
Right? So, I think some filtering probably helps around the edge.
No, I would agree. There is a lot. There's a lot around like brand refreshes these days as well. But to your point, if you're not fundamentally changing something, what are you essentially launching?